Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energies collectively for this week. I actually have my dog sat behind me, so I don't know whether he will settle or whether he will join us for the video. This morning I've woke up. Waking up is a gradual process, physically, spiritually, energetically. And for some it can be immediate. He's left. For some it can be immediate. But even that, in its overall sense, there's always something to open our eyes to as our consciousness expands. There's always something else to be seen. And then I hear, or is there? So the energy this week in particular feels very direct if we can hold space for that. I can feel a vibration trying to come down that is very clear, that is very crisp, that is very matter of fact and to the point. On either side, it's almost like I have a devil and an angel either side, as in there's always something more to see. When our consciousness expands, is there though? And it kind of feels like this week in particular, to stand the middle ground, to be the barometer, to allow our body to be the barometer. So I've just finished having a conversation with a really dear friend of mine about some of the dis-eases I experience physically. One of them is fibromyalgia, and obviously this is a personal perspective. This isn't to sway anyone else's opinion about illnesses. This isn't to get everyone to agree. This is my personal experience of having fibromyalgia. I have throughout my life had certain occurrences physically that have knocked me for six and still risen and ignored them. You know, like us all, I've had moments where it's like, I will not do that again. Goodness me, I will not do that again. And then it's like, but actually there was X, Y, and Z from this. Fibromyalgia, for me personally, is an incredible meter engaging where I'm at. You know, it is the one dis-ease I've had throughout my whole life that has made me stop and listen to my body, really listen to my body, to the food that I consume, to the thoughts that I consume, to the energy that I'm partaking in, all of it. That feels very relevant this week, that we find that one gift, and it may not seem as if it's a gift, but we find that one gift that allows our body to know what we are connected to. It may be anxiety, you know, and we can look at all the things that are coming up. No, that's going to confuse the situation. That's what I feel. That's going to confuse the situation. If we feel what is occurring without the additional explanations, but truly feel what is occurring and allow our body to be the metric system of whether or not we need to add anything to this energy. If we can hold space very clearly this week, it feels almost as if it's a knife edge decision, as if we are literally walking the middle ground, the knife edge, the space of Otorongo, this world and the next. It feels a very pivotal moment this week in particular. And when I tune into this energy, there are many distractions, many little stories and distractions. They're not whoppers, they're little stories which will almost entice us out of this center space. And we may feel as though we need that to gain insight. And some people may. No. So what I know, hold that middle ground. Hold that middle ground, whatever that may be for you right now. Hold a space where you are able to connect swiftly and clearly to where you are going and where you are at this week in particular. I'm trying to find within me why this week would be so to the point, so monumental almost. Nothing has come up yet. Okay, yes, because I'm trying to find a collective reason. Is it a moon stage? Is it something going on in the sky? Is it something collectively? It's an individual decision. an individual decision this week to say, this is where I'm going. And for us to be the clear energy coming through into us, for us to really, really connect to our higher self this week. Okay. I was just thinking, is there anything else before I start the cards? And no, there isn't. Because ultimately the cards are going to reflect back where we're at anyway, and the words that have been said anyway. So there is something in that about repetition. You know, if we know our truth, the truth doesn't need defending, it just is. So if we can stand in our own authenticity this week, I feel like a little bit of a shock to the system for us as well. We may well be very surprised at our own strength, at our own connection, at our own abilities. Yes, all we need to wake up to this week in particular is who we actually are. Gosh, really itchy back. Okay. So what I'm feeling with my back is almost like an allergic reaction. You know, when you have something that isn't good for you and it starts to make you itch and starts to bring up hives, look out this week at anything that we are having a reaction to. When we have an allergic reaction, it's because that energy, whether it's food, smoking, drinking, people, whatever, doesn't belong in our body. A lot of the time, especially in the spiritual arena, we work on not reacting, which is brilliant, it's powerful, it's mastery of our own energy. However, recognizing that reactions are our body's way of saying, no, I'm done with this. Very much like fibromyalgia, when I flare up, it is because my body has said no to whatever is occurring. And that can be anything: strong smells, sensitivity because I need to go within and take care of my own needs, or certain foods, for me personally, like dairy, meat, things like that. Smoking is a big one. I stop tomorrow. And I was looking at my language, the language that I'm going to use, and I was going to avoid saying that I'm quitting smoking because, you know, for a long time when we look at losing, whether that's weight or stopping something or smoking or drinking or whatever, we can almost think we are losing out on something or we are not giving something to our body. And I know this is old hat advice, but really delving deeper and being okay with, I am quitting. I am not doing this anymore. I am done. That real direct energy. So looking this week at what you're done with, what do you no longer want to experience, and standing in that clear direct energy from within without, oh, I don't know, am I old? If you want to be done, say you're done. Only then will you recognize your own strength and your own ability to do that. Okay. So I'm feeling some resistance to celebrations, I know we've got the Jubilee with the Queen coming up, and to lighter human things. And I'm actually feeling personal resistance not to get involved with that. But this week in particular, maybe look at the power and the joy of just being human, of just seeing things for what they are in that moment and experiencing them for what they are in that moment. I can feel that my own resistance is coming from, is there more to this? And there doesn't always have to be. It can just be what it is. Okay, so the cards for this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, overall. Okay. So at the bottom of the pack, we have the Two of Wands. We do have this moving forward here, this moving forward energy. Okay, and we're moving forward with a world vision in our hands, the world that we choose to see, the world that we want to carry forward. Again, it feels as if it has the potential to be quite monumental, and I can't put my finger on why. we'll see what comes up, but that feels very powerful, actually. So overall, the energy this week, we have the Ace of Swords, so I'm not surprised. Okay, so that's that clear, direct energy overall this week is the gift that we are being given. What we choose to do with that is entirely up to us. Okay, so even like myself, trying to figure out why this feels so monumental, that it needs almost a special reason behind it. When we connect to our higher self, it is monumental. When we connect to our potential, it is monumental. We don't always need a drama or a celebration or an illness or whatever in order to do that. Okay, itchy back again. Yes, we don't need an allergic reaction to connect to our potential. It is always there. It is about taking that time to do that. Okay, so this week, other than at the end of the week, we have all minor arcanas. It's down to the individual this week. And I just want to show you the card at the end of the week, which just happens to be the Magician. So it is all down to our ability to channel this direct energy this week. You know, what judgments we have, looking at our own body in regards to this, our physical well-being, what needs to be put into place there, our emotional well-being, how well we give and receive, how connected we are to the flow of life, our thoughts, how direct can we actually be, how can we clear out the junk in our mind this week. Yeah, also our spirit, our drive, our passion. It almost feels like an opportunity to go back to the beginning, because we do have the Ace of Swords, to go back to the beginning and start again this week. Well, yes, quite rightfully so. Every day, every moment is an opportunity to start again. What I really want to emphasize, I've just swapped positions. What I really want to emphasize is, in order to start something new, it is letting go of anything that stands in the way of it being new. Okay, so today we have the Three of Swords. Can you see that? Yeah. So the Three of Swords very much stereotypically talks about heartbreak, division, ending of relationships, things like that. However, for me personally, the Three of Swords always comes up as the Sacred Heart, the Christ consciousness. When heartbreak happens, it rips us open. It tears us open. And, you know, the chakras, the energy centers within our body, are kind of like a laxative for all the emotions in our body. So when it affects our heart, it's an opportunity to release anything that has stood in the way of the Sacred Heart. The dog's coming back in. Anything that has stood in the way of that love. Now, that feels like an opportunity on the Monday. Dog nearly tipped over my glass of water. It feels like an opportunity on the Monday, today, to really look at the things that have caused us pain, to really look at how they have changed us, how we have grown from them, and to bring back now aspects that we may have felt that we had lost, the parts of ourselves that we have separated from. There's no judgment there, but heartbreak can really affect our ability to connect to our higher self. There may be more with that, there may not actually. So on the Tuesday, just as I'm stroking my dog and starting to zone out, on the Tuesday we do have the Four of Swords. We do have taking that moment to pause and reflect. So whatever comes up for you on the Monday, yeah, just taking that moment to reconnect to the direct energy that's trying to come through. We have that sword at the bottom. Whatever that is for you, it can be walking, meditation, it can be time out with friends and loved ones, you know, it can, yeah, whatever that is for you. Stroking a dog, I can feel it, it's just zoning me out. Stroking a dog, just doing something that rests your body on the Tuesday in regards to whatever may rise on the Wednesday. overall, it feels important to keep reflecting back that this week's energy is very much about direct channeling, very much about making magic with the gifts that we are being given. They may not feel like gifts, but there is an opportunity here, real opportunity here to be with our hearts, to really feel into what has occurred. So on the Wednesday, we have progression in that we have the Five of Swords. We've gone from the Four of Swords to the Five of Swords here. And that does, to me, look like certain situations, people, thoughts, ways of being, leaving our life now. 5 is a turning point. Having the opportunity, we literally have 3, 4, 5. So it's all in order. Everything is in order. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. May not feel like it, but everything is in order. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we go from 3, 4, 5. Having the opportunity to use whatever is occurring in our heart to really take stock, to give it up now to a higher energy and walk away from that no longer serves that direct communication, that direct connection. If we can do that, come Thursday, we have the 9 of Cups. So this is classically known as the wish card, okay? But what we can't see is what is behind this individual. Emotionally, they have stacked up everything that they have gone through, which is beautiful. And they have an opportunity to then bring in the final cup, the 10 cups, and achieve fulfillment. This person in particular looks quite stubborn, quite smug. Sat down, arms crossed. Yes, the legs are open, but the arms are crossed. The heart is still crossed. So we run that risk on Thursday if we haven't addressed what is occurring Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, for it to come back round on the Thursday, possibly under the guise of what we want, possibly under the guise of what our heart longs for, what we've wished for a long time. Just being aware of that. Again, I do feel if we've held space for this direct energy to come through, for this healing to come through, things will shift by the Thursday. If not, there may be more work to do. Even if things shift, there's more to do, right? Even if something moves forward, then we enter a new stage of how things are. So there is always something to do, which brings me on to the energy of the Friday, which is the 10 of Wands. So how we view that, this character, with everything in front of him, carrying all of that, always something to do, from that perspective, he can't see where he's going. Okay, he cannot see where he's going. His vision is clouded. So where do you want to go with that? My eyes are being drawn from the 10 of Wands to the 2 of Wands, and the difference here, obviously the amount of ambition that person carries is less, because it's all about the world. It's all about the vision of the earth and what they're choosing to bring forward. And because of that, he can actually see. Come the Friday, if there is an overload of ideas or an overload of work or the risk of burnout, what is for the highest good of what it is you're trying to bring in here? That's what I feel. Everything we manifest is always for the highest good. It may not feel that way, but it is. Everything we bring in is always for our development and the Earth's development. It may not feel that way, but it is. This week in particular, it feels very monumental that we recognise this and that we spend that time contemplating, connecting to the higher vision here. We can't do that if A, we think we're the only ones that can do it, if we forget the co-collaboration with the universe, if we believe that it's hard work, if we refuse to open up our hearts to what it is that's occurring here. We're just going to go round and round in circles mentally, which is going to lead to needing to take time out and rest and recognising where we've separated from our heart's desire. So on the Saturday, ask for help. Ask for help from family, from the universe, from anyone you feel can help you move forward here, to be the to bring in the magic that it is you're trying to bring in. Ask for help. We're in early stages of creating something new here, something quite grounded. 3 Pentacles, earth, creation, birth. Just ask for help if you feel you need it. That's all I feel on the Saturday. Reach out. I can hear the song, reach out and touch me. I can just hear the song. And on the Sundays, I've already mentioned, we have the Magician. So again, this week, it may not feel as if it's a magical week. I mean, it may. It may actually. You know, the cards don't have a positive, solely a positive or solely a negative. They have shadow and light aspects to them. Both energies, they're non-judgmental. So whilst on the one hand, we do have the potential of heartbreak, needing us to rest, take time out and contemplate what we want, moving forward from situations, thoughts or whatever that aren't fueling us in order to achieve what it is we want, asking for help if it becomes a bit too much. We do, on the other hand, as well, have a union of the heart from all the heartbreak. Time to take stock of where we've been, to move forward mentally, to open ourselves to what it is we've been trying to achieve, to let go. You know, 10 of Wands is also 10, it's an ending, to let go of the hard work now. You know, so it all depends on the perspective this week, every week, but this week in particular, I'm finding that I have extra fluid in my mouth, which for me feels very much like a salivation, like something that we want. Also channeling, of course, but a thirst this week. I feel a real thirst for change, but that comes from within. That comes from how we choose to see what is actually occurring around us. How direct we decide to be with ourselves and truthful with ourselves and with each other. Okay, so I do feel a real thirst for truth this week, for authenticity this week. So we have 4 sword cards, which all round back round to the 4 of Swords. Taking time to contemplate the new thoughts that are trying to come in regards to heartbreak, separation, conflict. Really taking that time to connect to a higher vision of that now. We have 1 cup card, the Ace of Cups. Also bear in mind the Magician has all of these elements. But we have 1 cup card here, connecting to our source. Excuse me. And it is the heart. It is the heart this week, but really connecting to our physical well-being and what's going on in our body. What are we feeling? What are we releasing? How are we tracking what's going on? How are we monitoring where we're at? You know, and it does feel very related to the heart this week in particular, but connecting to the heart of all things. Thank you. This took a while. Connecting to the heart of all things. And that feels quite relevant, that actually, whilst I'm aware of the guidance around me, today it took quite a while for any outside information, well, not outside, but any information to come through, any connection. And it may this week. It may take a while to connect to the heart of something. First and foremost, let's connect to our own. Then we can connect to the heart level of something else, whether that's a job, a relationship, our health. Really connecting to the heart soul. Is that even a word? Okay. The heart soul of a situation. So for me personally, with fibromyalgia, I'm human. Obviously, I have my low moments when it comes to experiencing things. For the most part, I can connect to the soul of what is occurring and the lessons and the beauty there. When we see something as separate from us, outside of us, we get the 3 of Swords. we get that separation from our heart, from the heart of the situation, from the heart soul in particular this week. And that is in regards to what it is we're longing for, because it's the Nine of Cups that just brought out that whole spiel. So it's the Nine of Cups. So really taking a moment to reconnect to what it is you're longing for. If we connect from where we've been, we're going to get the same answers. So to really reconnect in a new way, to open our heart to the opportunities of what it is we have been, for some of us, longing for some time. So there is there's two wand cards actually, the Ten of Wands and the Two of Wands. And I want to hold these up together because it really, really feels like an opportunity to move away from this hard work. Whatever that may be, that can be, it's draining on the soul. That's what I feel like. It's, when we believe that we're doing something on our own, when we believe that we're disconnected from somebody or from a situation or from our own higher good or from our emotions, whatever, we're draining the soul because we're not connected to that higher energy. Mentally, we're not connected to that higher energy. So if something feels too much this week, or you want to move forward from it feeling too much, connect to the heart and allow that to connect to the higher energy trying to come through to help. That is the help that we're searching for on the Saturday. And if you struggle with that, not struggle, but if you need help with that, physical help with that, then seek that out by the Saturday. We have one Pentacle card, which is the Three of Pentacles. And with all of this going on, we are at very early stages of what is trying to come through. Very early solid stages. Do you agree? Do you agree? Very early solid stages of what it is that's trying to come through. So 3, we do have birth. We do have growth. No, that's what I want to say. It's not birth at the moment, it's growth. Okay, so it is about preparing ourselves as a vessel this week in particular for what it is we are trying to deliver. So with that in mind, I'm going to put them all back. And I'm going to pull one more card. Best way to navigate. What do we need to embody this week? Come on then, Papa, you come pick a card. You want to pick a card? Pick a card, no? Okay. Oh. Let's shuffle again. He's due to go out, so... Six of Cups. What I really feel here is reflection on what we've given, on what we've received, childhood memories, twin flames, keeping that balance and that harmony. When we think about moving forward this week, being open to receive, but also open to share. Today's post was very much about innate and reciprocity, being in the flow, allowing this gorgeous, abundant energy of innate to flow through us in what we give, to be open in what we receive, without the mental constraints, without the physical constraints as well, without any of the judgment there, to truly open up to the magicians that we are, to truly create. My dog's now drinking, to feel that thirst and open to what is trying to come through, to say, to, what's the word? Basically to quench the thirst. I'm going to take my dog out because he thinks you've all had enough time. Yeah. Take care. Have a wonderful week. And yeah, be open to receive and be open to give as well. Take care.